Hello, this is Second Story Garage. I'm Quentin, here with Qbala.
That's right.
Hip-hop artist.
Hip-hop artist.
A rap artist and hip-hop artist.
Sure.
From Fort Collins. And thanks for coming down.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So the 3 songs that you did for us, tell us about those. That's new material that you're working on for a new EP, right?
Yes, it is. The new EP that I'm working on is titled Dark Side of the Rain. There's definitely a lot that goes into that name just from the music that I've grown up on and was influenced by. You can already kind of tell just by the title. But this EP touches on a lot of personal issues, and I feel like a lot of my music does that. But this one in particular, I really took the aspect of making songs, full songs with great choruses that I'm singing in, and really putting out an energy that builds into the verses. And so it's something different, and I've never done this before, and it's all growth, and I'm excited.
And it does get very personal.
It does.
Especially the song News.
The song News, yeah. I just recorded News at the Blasting Room, and this song in particular, I didn't choose to write it to a specific beat right off the bat. I had a lot on my mind. Some things were going on in my family. Some things have gone on with my biological father and my mother and my grandparents. And I'm the youngest of my siblings, and I really feel that I've been told a lot of information, but it's super gappy. And so I'm left to fill in the blanks, use my imagination. And in your imagination, if you let it run wild, it could take you to some pretty scary places of thought. And so I really went there, and I just dove into what I felt. And the night that I couldn't sleep, I woke up, and I've just been trying this new technique. If you can't sleep, get up and write. Mm-hmm. Write something, read something, create. And that was the product, and I really got some stuff off my chest. And I had sent that to my oldest sister, just the literature, and she was kind of, my feeling is like, when you read this from your younger sibling, are you beside yourself? So this is my perception of what she felt, was just kind of like, wow, that's very powerful. Have you showed this to anyone else? And that's kind of how this kind of stuff goes in families, in my family. Mm-hmm. And being a writer where I'm at right now, I'm really expressing myself, feelings, emotions, and like you'll hear me talk a lot about energy. And I really feel that in order for me to continue growing through my music as a person, through this therapeutic way of living my life that I've found that works for me, that I do have to take myself through some of these troubling times, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for my family and the people around me.
Listening to it, it sounds like it must take some courage to write that stuff, and not knowing anything about your family, it's powerful to somebody listening to it. I can only imagine what it's like for somebody who's in your family or you.
Yeah, the information that you've been told growing up, and if you don't ask or act on any of that, or let yourself feel those things, for me, as far as I've learned and gone through, those things come up later. Mm-hmm. They come up later at some point, and your family members might not be ready for it, and you might be. But I found a way to express those things and grow, and I feel that forgiveness is not just about forgiving that person. It's about letting go of things for yourself. And in order for me to be able to love myself and the things about myself where I've come from, because my family work ethic is strong. My mother is so strong, the strongest woman that I've ever met.
You have a reputation yourself for having a strong work ethic.
And I thought about this morning. I thought about that. I thought really hard on that, my work ethic, and as I was literally on my hands and knees cleaning my floor in my apartment by hand. Just scrubbing the floor. Most people grab a mop. I've seen my mom clean the floor with her bare hand, with her hands in a towel. And you're getting into that. You're working hard, and that's the worker bee is kind of my family motto. I feel that those base information that I learned and watched and grew up through seeing as a kid went through sports, went through all these college, high school, middle school, elementary, all the way back and forth. And now I finally met that gap of where I can take that knowledge and put it into my music. And maybe I never realized that was what was happening all along. But this is where I'm at now, and I just and I look back on that, and it feels good.
So you went into music, but your life could have gone a different direction. You could have gone and played basketball.
Yeah.
And so we ask everybody to bring us something. Qbala brought us this.
Yeah.
And this represents another part of your life.
Another chapter. There's so many chapters of my life, and I mean, we're really scraping the tip of the iceberg.
You
on
considered
this
going to play pro ball
I did.
in Europe.
I went to North Carolina after I finished my senior year at the University of Alaska Anchorage, and I want to say that I did not graduate. I have about a semester left to major in history. But those weren't my intentions when I went into school. My intentions were to go and change my character and play the sport that I loved so much, endlessly loved. And I realized something about myself throughout those years and playing for Otero Junior College, Utah State University. I did get to travel overseas and play during the summer to Australia, and then left the sport because of some personal and family issues, and went back to, I got a full ride scholarship, got offered a full ride scholarship to go to Alaska and finish my senior year. But as I'm going through this, I mean, I was forcing myself to dress the girl part, to live this life, because when you get into a sport on a team, you really devote yourself to this team, this goal, and what their mission statement is. And that's a hard thing if you don't let go of this other life behind you, your extracurricular activities, whatever it may be. So I really had to cut off music during Alaska. And after I left that senior year, I went and played in a combine in North Carolina, and I made a team to go to Hungary and play. And that was a traveling team, so you would go and just play around until someone picked you up. And I'm sitting that was in North Carolina. I tried to get a flight back to Colorado because I had gotten hooked up with some really cheap tickets, got stuck in the Chicago O'Hare Airport for 26 hours. And I bought a bottle of wine before this business closed, and I'm sitting there by myself, and then I see these traveling musicians come through. And we sat there and chopped it up for about an hour. And I realized some things about myself. It was really a gut check. And when I got back to Colorado, and I was still hooping, I still go to Northside Gym in Fort Collins, still come to Denver to play in the early morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., just because I was a hooper. And then I realized something, and it's just like, man, I can really only be myself so much in this sport. It's time for something else. It's time for this music that you've been dabbling with since you were in your teens, and grow and learn more about yourself and the world. Become more of a spiritual person. I challenged myself. People around me that cared about me challenged me, and I don't think it was anyone's goal for me to quit sports and go into the music world, because I believe that a lot of people that were in my corner during this athletic time of my life just believed you're going to make it in sports. You're going to make it in sports. And honestly, I was just sick of sitting in horse troughs full of ice and water and seeing myself injured and having to get up and do it again, and someone telling me jump, sit, stand, be here, swim, whatever, run, put the ball in the hoop. And I really started seeing it as something different. I really started seeing it as not a freedom and more of a job.
So you made that transition to music and started doing that, and now you're having success doing that, and you're gaining a lot of attention, especially up in Fort Collins. Yeah. And you were headlining. We were just talking about this.
The Mishawaka Amphitheater. I'm so excited about that. Yeah.
Which is a great gig. On October 17th.
October 17th. It's coming up. Yeah. It's right around the way.
Well, thanks for coming in here first and letting us
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
This is Second Story Garage.